Hi, everybody. I would be remiss to hop into this podcast all sunshine and daisies and not address the major events and aftershocks of the US 2024 election. I'm reading, so if you're watching this, that's why I'm looking off to the side, but I just have a few things that I'd like to say. On November 5th, Election Day in the US in 2024, America elected Donald Trump to be the 47th President of the United States. This is not only disappointing, but terrifying as America threatens to usher in a wave of fascism and hatred. Neither I nor the Gears and Glory pod stand for hatred, bigotry, and the othering of minority groups. This is an enormous setback for America and promises impossible times ahead for women, people of color, the LGBTQIA plus community, immigrants, and endless other groups of people. I also want to comment that while I adore and we adore motorsports and Formula One as a competitive environment, the hypocrisy from the FIA president Slam in his congratulation of Donald Trump and therefore endorsement of what Trump stands for is deplorable. Our favorite athletes aren't allowed to wear jewelry, their own choice of underwear, or curse in a sport among adults and for adults because there's literally an F1 Kids broadcast. They have little animations of all of the drivers. Yet the president of the FIA can congratulate a felon and a bigot. I see this hypocrisy and I denounce it. This is not okay. A lot of news is coming out right now, good and bad, and mostly bad right now in the political space in America. So please be sure to take care of yourself and be well. And now for the best and most awkward segue in the world. Britt, why don't you kick us off to our normal pod shenanigans?
Yeah, absolutely. As you've probably seen if you're watching, Liv is not joining us today. She has some things on her plate that she's taking care of, but she will be missed, and just want to pass on our love from Australia as well. And we are completely in support with Sof and everyone else. And yeah, it's tough watching it from the outside, but I can only empathize with everyone who is in and amongst it all. So with that being said, let's hopefully give you some lighthearted, fun content for you and recap the Brazil Grand Prix, which itself, I guess, was not even that lighthearted, but let's talk about it. So, for our regularly scheduled intro, welcome back to Gears and Glory.
Love
Let's talk
it.
about the Brazil Grand Prix.
The Brazil Grand Prix that at this point was so long ago. It's fine. Some of us have been coping with the fall of democracy.
Yeah, look.
This is not a political podcast. I'm getting my political jokes out of my system, and then we can just make regular, normal F1 jokes.
Some of us have been in a crisis mode. It's the end of the year. You know, more things have come up, okay? And we're just people at the end of the day. So
yeah,
we hope that whenever you're watching this, that you get taken back to Brazil 2024 and you can relive
the best race ever.
Race. That
Possibly
was
best race
incredible.
I've ever watched.
Yeah,
but you guys know I'm new to this. More new than you.
I would say that this has definitely taken over Australia 2023 for me, which I watched in person, but that for a few reasons was my favorite race. But I think this has taken it over because oh my god,
I just realized I did
great time for Australia. So thank you so much, Brazil. I just want to say that.
I just realized I'm sitting here like giving a dreamy sigh, like I'm thinking about my crush in 7th grade and doodling, and it's just me doodling Brazil 2024 on my notebook like a million times. That's how I feel about this race.
Honestly.
To be honest, I'm glad it came before the break because I feel like there's been so many things that needed to get, like, that I just needed to digest that came out of it that, like, there was enough in there. If any one of these things had happened in one race, it would have been, like, enough to talk about.
Yes.
But we got so many of them in one, which was amazing. Like, first of all, like, before even getting into the race, they changed the time. So it was actually really stressful. I was like, I'm not going to be able to find the broadcast because my YouTube TV was like, oh, no, it's college football time there's college football on right now. And I was like, I
None of
don't
this.
care about your
Time for college
18-year-olds
football.
giving each other concussions. Show me the fast cars. So I ended up finding it on ESPNU, which is the college sport channel. I'm like,
Oh,
wow, they
they've just
must
done a
have
little
done
bit of,
this for me specifically.
yeah, they've just done a little switcheroo specifically for Soph.
Yeah, I was like panic Googling where to watch F1 Brazil 2024. But no, it was good. But that, like, even from moment one, they were like, and the weather's going to be bad, and we need to change the time of the race, which, like, I haven't seen.
Mm.
Like, I've seen the red
No,
flags, I've seen the breaks, but like the ahead of time
well,
change.
yeah, well, it was a change of time for qualifying, but then also the race.
Right, because they ended up putting qualifying before the race
Yeah, and they had,
instead of after the sprint.
I think it was 4 hours between qualifying and the race, because I think that said that that's the minimum amount of time that the teams need to rebuild anything in case there was a crash, and there
Right.
were many. And props to Aston Martin, let me say.
No,
Which we can
literally
never do.
Alonso. You and Alonso did it for the engineers.
Oh my god. That made me, oh, like I said before, I'm an empath. And when Alonso was like, oh, my back's really sore, but I'm going to push through for the engineers, I was like, oh, you selfless man.
Oh man, if just in case you needed another reason to love Fernando Alonso, I mean, there you go. I think the
Yeah.
guy's insane, but I do love him deeply.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's, no, I love Fernando. We haven't gotten a good meme from him in a while, but I love him.
Yeah, I mean that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite rookie, the oldest man with back problems. It's just like it just the juxtaposition is the correct term, I believe, of
Yeah.
just like he is my favorite rookie and he is so old he's complaining about his back.
Yeah.
But to be
Yeah.
fair, I complain about my back and I'm 27.
Yeah. I complain about my back, my hips, and my knees. So,
All the joints, how many joints do you have? That's how many you can complain about.
yeah, I'm not complaining about my shoulders right now, but give it time.
Right now.
Give it time. They're often sore.
Yeah.
And I am not a high
No.
performance athlete.
This is real sweat. Yeah, no, 100%. So let's just dive into it to the race then. Like,
Yeah.
do you want to go kind of chronological order?
Yeah. With the
Okay.
race?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's kick it
Yeah.
off
So
with the start.
I don't have great notes for FP1, FP2, the
Mm,
sprint really.
mm,
I think they surely, I mean, whatever. It's whatever in the face of what was the actual Grand Prix. Like anything
yeah.
that happened
Yeah.
before, I was probably like, ooh, exciting. And then I was like, you know what? Forget that. I want this.
Yeah.
So, also for our listeners, these notes that we're going off of are my unfiltered, likely, I believe, early morning stream of consciousness thoughts that I
Mm,
put in my phone that I then pasted into our Google Doc.
yeah.
So for the
Actually,
AI that's scraping this, it's not going to be very good.
I wonder if I saved my notes from from Brazil.
I hope so.
Oh, wait, was this? No, that was the race before.
Okay. Well, while you look, I do want to start talking about because I just saw my first note and I get to be president of the Lando Hater Club again.
I
Oh,
got
you have
some,
them. Good.
but I stopped. I stopped. It got too intense.
Yeah. Well, it was crazy, but yeah. So to start, I'll put on my hat. I'm officially calling to order this Lando Hater Club meeting. Well, it's not a hater club. Kind of. I just he is very consistent in his. What's a nice way to say this? He's very consistent in his starts in that they are often bad.
Yeah. Welcome back, Mr. Consistent. Goodbye, George Russell. Hello, Lando Norris.
Yeah.
um. Yeah. Well, I think even before his bad start, there was an infringement because
Yeah.
they did the formation lap again because of Lance's crash.
Um.
Which was 100% avoidable on his half
I
because
saw people say that he
he,
did it on purpose because he didn't want to
yeah,
race, and honestly, I respect it. Lance Stroll, if
I,
that's true, let us know.
yeah, give us a like. We won't tell anyone, but we will know in our hearts that you've liked this episode,
And that
and
means
and
that
we
you did
know
it
where
on
you stand.
purpose.
Yeah, because he drove into that gravel patch.
It's
He
not his
beat
first Grand Prix. He's not a rookie. Like, in my opinion, this is what I feel like is probably one of my hottest F1 takes, is that I think Lance Stroll isn't a bad driver.
No, I don't think, a little bit off course. I don't think that Lance wants to do this anymore.
I
I
think
think
he's,
that he
like,
did it for
trying
a
to be
little
a good
bit.
son.
Yes, I think he's living out his dad's dream. Like, he
Mm.
did it for a bit, liked it, and now it's kind of gone on too far. And he's like, "Oh shit, I'm in this, and I'm locked
Yeah, but,
in,
like, the thing
and I
is
don't want to
like,
be locked
he's
in."
not last. He's not Williams. Aston Martin has points. Did he
Yeah,
get, well, do they? I don't know. Off the
uh,
top of my head.
I think
But,
so.
like, but he's not the bottom. Like, and I
No,
love Logan Sargent, and Logan Sargent actually recently had a very good test in an Indy car, so we love that for him. But, like, he wasn't Logan Sargent. He's not Williams. He's not Stake. Like, the car is
no,
good, and he's driving it well. Like, there's a
yeah,
way to drive a good car in a way that you put it at the bottom.
yeah.
But you're
Well, he's
seeing that with the Williams.
yes, and he's always, well, not always, but he is majority of the time into Q2.
Consistently, yeah.
I think he knows how to put his car where he wants it.
Yeah. And so I think that's one of my hottest takes, but I think, like, he knows too much. Like, he's literally in Formula One. He's not in Formula
Yeah,
Two. He's not
yeah.
in any others, like, Formula, what,
And he was
Speed
good
or
in
one of the other
F2.
ones.
He was
Yeah.
good in F2. He was like a championship battler.
Yeah. So anyways, Lando Hater Club, Lance Affirmation Club.
Yeah,
Um, he is too good of a driver, in my opinion, to not know that the thing that has trap after it is going to make it so his car can't move. Like, he was,
but
honestly, and I respect it because he's probably sitting there. He's probably hot, sweaty, and now, like, wet.
and wet.
Just, like, in the least, like, raunchy sense of the word, just, like, wet and damp.
Yeah. You know what? I think he saw the conditions in qualifying and he went, "I don't like this."
But that's, like, so fair. And, like,
Yeah,
the only way to do that was, like, oh, no, I drove into the gravel trap.
and like,
Because he didn't do any damage to the car.
no, he didn't. He didn't.
So,
Um,
anyway,
but
King.
something that I did notice with that, which annoyed me quite a lot, is Lance was out of the car and walking around while the other cars were going around the track, finishing their formation lap. Yes, they were low speed. However, I think actually,
Oh,
they oh, thumbs down. Okay.
wow.
Hang on, I've mixed up my words. So Lance was out of the car walking around. I think that they said over the commentary that they wanted to bring the cars in because they didn't want them driving around while Lance was on the track, like out. However, Nico crashed in the sprint and he got out of the car and was walking around, and they didn't even call the yellow flag until after he was out of the car for like a while.
Do you see this hat? It's a tinfoil hat. Because I think that they were trying to get McLaren to do the thing so that they could have a tight battle for the championship.
Probably because the like, I don't know, maybe something shady went on. Maybe the stewards just weren't paying attention at that particular point in time. But Nico
But,
was,
like, that's hard. It's hard for me to give them those excuses because it's their literal job.
yeah, you're paid to literally sit there and watch every aspect of the race. You can pull up 15 track limits in a span of like 20 minutes in Austria, but you can't call a yellow flag when someone is out of their car. Like, I don't know, it made me really annoyed because seeing that in the sprint, I was like, look, that's really unsafe, especially two different locations on the track. I think Nico was in a corner and
Yeah, he was
he was
towards the
like,
end where it gets a little bit like
yeah,
like back and forth.
yeah, and I think he was off like a fair distance off the track limit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even if someone else took the corner wide or whatever, I think he would have been out of their path. But that does not matter.
If there's
That does not
another,
happen.
if someone
It's regardless.
goes or loses
It's wet.
control, yeah,
You know, nothing, anything could have happened. So that
yeah.
had already annoyed me. And then when I heard them say that during the formation lap for Lance, which they go slower than when they're in like behind a safety car. So I'm like,
The safety car
what?
goes so fast.
Yeah, it's
I like
those
recently,
things zooming around there.
they look, because I don't know what it is about the broadcast and the videographers. It makes it look like they're going, like, obviously, I know they're going 300 miles an hour or whatever,
Mm.
but it makes it look, it makes it perceive, like, I perceive it as slower. And then I, like, recently saw a TikTok of, like, the safety car going
Mm.
actually safety car speed. And I was like, oh,
Yeah, they go super quick.
yeah.
Bernard,
Well, now I'm
like,
curious. What's the,
because like I mean, Aston Martin and Merc, they're not slow cars. You know,
no.
like these are fast cars.
I've Googled, how fast the safety car goes. Oh, do I want cookies? Sure. Just get out of my face. It doesn't say the standard speed. Okay, that's not helpful. Anyways, that was a whole lot of nothing out of Google.
Oh, I have a hot take
Yeah.
as well about the commentary this race, which we will get to when we get to that point in my notes, but just know it's coming. And I
Oh,
want your opinions on it.
my God. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So
So,
we've discussed the Lance going off. We've discussed, let's get into a little bit of the aborted start and Max pushing up his glasses and going, actually. Which, and honestly,
I love that.
I'm a Max truther now too. I've come full circle. I used to really not like him after, well, okay, everybody who's a DTS fan hater. I'm a DTS fan. That's how I got into it. The one episode where he fights with Esteban and pushes him and calls him a mom, stop listening, a pussy. I was like, okay, now hold on there. But then I like remembered, I was like, he's 18, and not that this excuses it, but
Mm,
it adds a little bit more context to his frontal
mm,
lobe has not yet developed.
mm.
So I didn't like Max because of that. He won me over. I also just in general, like, yeah, he can be a total ass, but he is as good of a driver. And like, literally, we saw that in Brazil. But like,
Yeah.
that's why. Like,
He
that's,
said that was his hardest race.
he deserves every flower he gets for
Yeah.
Brazil. He
Yeah.
deserves every moment of joy that he gets out of that. And like,
Yeah.
that's the thing that about like these racers, like Michael Schumacher wasn't a nice guy. Like, I'm sure he
Mm,
was great, but
yeah.
in the cockpit, he was not nice.
This is what I've been saying for so long because I make recently because of this lax. All right, that's their ship name. Because of this lax drama that's going around between Max and Lando, um, and their battle,
Mm-hmm.
Max, because it's easy, all the media paints him to be the villain. We've spoken about this on past episodes, but I talk about this quite a lot on my TikTok because every single driver makes questionable decisions in the cockpit, but
Mm-hmm.
some drivers get more scrutinized than others. And that's what annoys me is like if you're going to talk bad about one driver, you need to at least be consistent. And so, you know, people are always talking bad about Max.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really annoying me lately.
Yeah, I've just added a note to our notes to talk about at
Mm,
the end because it has to do with the end of the race. But
mm,
we'll come full circle and it'll be really satisfying when we get to it.
okay.
Look at all
Okay.
these Easter eggs we're dropping of like,
Yeah.
ooh, stay tuned.
Stay tuned for more.
But I did love
Yeah.
that Max basically had like his textbook in his cockpit and was like, he's not allowed to go. Actually, he's not allowed to go. Actually, he's wrong. I loved it.
It was very George Russell of him.
But what was it? There's one radio of him where he's going, where somebody, false start.
Stop, start, Norris.
Yeah.
George,
Yeah.
what's the countdown? Stop watching.
I know. No, it's, well,
Oh,
okay. So I saw this video too. Oh my God, this is gonna be the longest podcast ever. I
oh
saw
my
this
god.
video too that was like they put special glasses on. I think it was Nico Hulkenberg doing phone call from my mom. Hi, mom. This is why I can't call you back. Um, And they had put these special glasses on him, and basically, like, they said that he needs like a fraction of the time in to perceive something in his periphery than the average person, because their reflexes are so insane.
Yeah.
They blink less. They blink at
Mm,
all at similar moments of certain tracks,
yeah.
because
I've
one
heard
blink
that.
is going to be like set so many meters. I don't want to
Yeah.
say a number, but so many of them.
Yeah. I think it's like, I think I read at least like 500 to 700 meters, depending on how fast they're going.
Yeah. So any
'Cause,
movement
well,
away from where you're going, you look where you go, kind of like with horses, you look where you
mm,
want to go. Like, I'm sure a cart is the same but different. Same but different. But I like for him to like peek out of the corner of his eye and just see stuff like
mm,
that, and I don't know, and I just think it's cute that they all just like, well, that like Max and George are like, well, you're not allowed to do that actually. So I mean, that's, but like fundamentally, I do respect the fact that like everybody else went, and the couple of people that stayed were like, no,
mm,
we know what's correct here, and they like kind of stuck to their guns and
yeah.
didn't just like, if all your friends jump off a cliff, if all your friends go when the lights turn a different color,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. And like that's what the commentators were saying. They were like, "Oh, perhaps everyone else went because Lando went and
Hmm.
he's the leader." And it's like, "Yeah, okay, but everyone knows the rules." So
Yeah.
that's not really an excuse. Um and I agree. I think it was just, even though that situation had not happened and it was not in the sporting
Right.
regulations, so that's why it took so long for them to work out the penalty. Um like Max said, it's still an aborted start. So,
Yeah, and I do, you know what? I'm going to take my Lander Hater Club president hat off for a second and
mm,
excuse his behavior, because he's relatively newer, and these situations
yes.
aren't super common. The lights did
No.
something different than he was expecting them to. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll allow it. Not that
And
it
look,
matters, but I'll allow it this time. I
it,
did
it
think the
matters. All
penalties
right.
were interesting though, because
Yeah, I would like to talk about
it
those.
was just the like top five that got penalties, right? And it was just like a cash penalty that they had to pay.
Yeah, it was actually less than what Charles had to pay for swearing in the press conference.
You're
So
joking. You're joking. For
Charles
something
got
that happened
fined.
actually in the race?
Yep.
Okay, just
So
making sure.
yeah, so Charles got fined £10,000, I think, or €10,000. I can't remember what it said on the
10,000 of some
report.
currency.
10,000 non-Australian dollars. Um, um, yeah, so I think £10,000. I'm fairly sure that all that got the starting infringement got fined £5,000.
That's silly.
Yeah, and
That for these guys
not
on their
a
budget.
time penalty, not a grid penalty, nothing.
Everybody gets a good penalty. It didn't even matter by the time it got to Max. He'd be what, P16 in an empty spot? Because the two spots
Yeah,
ahead of Max were empty, right? Because those people
yeah,
were starting from the pit lane.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I think someone started from the pits and then Lance crashed
I thought there were
out.
like 3 or 4 people starting in the pit lane.
Yeah, potentially.
There were a lot. I feel like there was a
Can't
lot.
remember exactly how many. But yeah, okay. What happened? What
Oh,
happened
lap
next?
one. Let me talk about lap one. Let me talk about lap one once we actually get
Because
going. So, first of all, my notes say crazy to see them going so slow, which is hilarious because it's relative, and it's like funny because
mm,
they have like their like all weather tires on.
yeah,
But Max made up 7 places in the first lap alone.
yeah.
He was
I
in
li-
the points. From
my
P17, he was in the points by the end of lap 1. And I remember hearing the commentators go, like, be absolutely shocked at that fact of, like, oh my God.
Yeah. Like, obviously, he had the two cars in front of him clear, which helped clear his path, which obviously meant that they were still on the grid. They just weren't where they would normally be. So he could take a different path and go around the outside, which worked out
Hmm.
well for him. And obviously, like, he knew what to do. So big props to him. My notes literally say max up 7 positions by lap 2 per.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And I
Yep.
think a lot about how he does well in the rain, like with some of the other older drivers, but I
Yeah,
think because he's Dutch, they get a lot of rain.
yeah,
That he
yeah,
just like I remember some other race, I can't remember what it was, but he like looked at the sky and was like, "When is the rain coming?"
yeah. I think that was Texas last year.
Yeah, and it wasn't like it didn't end up hitting them or something, or
No,
it was some situation where it was like that, but he knew it was going to rain in that area sometime soon.
yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was forecast to rain after qualifying, and he looked at the rain. Actually, maybe it wasn't Texas because I feel like that was obvious. But yeah, I do remember that happening, and everyone
He
was
has
like,
like his
I
spidey
think GP
senses.
was like, "It's not like it's coming after we
Yeah.
finish,"
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
was like, "Oh, okay." But I was like, "Damn." You know that scene in
Yeah.
Mean Girls? There's a 30% chance it's already raining. He
That's
was
really
just
funny.
like,
That's
uh,
really
yeah, my Max Lover hat was front and center during Brazil. I was obsessed.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I was rooting so hard. I needed him to get past Lando. And that's the thing.
mhm.
And I go to my local bar that shows all the F1 races, and I go, and it's me and my friend Jack. Shout out Jack, who I shout out every freaking podcast.
We need him on the
Um,
pod one.
I know we'll have to during the break. We'll have to do an episode with him. But
Yeah,
it's just like the two of us clapping every time Max does something good, and everyone's like looking at us, or like Lando does something,
yeah,
and we're like boo, basically like, oh, I can't believe this is happening. Like, what about my son, Max Verstappen? And so it's really funny because there's a lot of Lando fans in my area that go to that bar, and far
crazy.
less Max fans.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Um, what happened next? Oh my god, yeah, the Ollie and Franco collision. This is
that
what
was
I was.
silly.
This is what I wanted to chat about.
Okay,
So that
go
was
ahead.
silly. I do agree. Let me switch back to my notes. So it's talking about the commentators and also Miss Bernie Collins, who we love.
Okay, listen. I get so
And
mad. I get so mad. But so okay, hold on. I'm just gonna reset. This was when he just bumped Franco up the back. Franco got like a little mushroom, and Mario Kart got a little boost for
yeah,
a second. Nobody had
yeah,
any damage. Nothing
no,
materially changing of the race happened. And he gets
yep.
10 seconds? That's a lot.
It's crazy. Like, I understand that causing a collision is the same penalty regardless of the impact. I understand that.
Yeah.
But that was crazy. I would have just thought it would have maybe been noted or something. I did not expect a 10-second.
It felt
I thought
way
that
more
was
like a racing incident than an actual
yes.
collision.
Yeah,
So, okay,
because
but okay, now just wanted to make sure we're talking about the same thing. Now say your
yeah,
piece.
yeah. So I think the commentators, I think Crofty and I can't remember, probably Martin to be honest. Crofty and Martin went to Bernie to talk
It
about
was
why that
Karoon.
incident. It was Karun. Okay.
Yeah, who's also Karoon Club. Sorry, Karoon.
Yeah. Look, I get on and off him to be honest. He has good insights, but I think all in all, I don't love him.
I don't like the
So
way he talks to Bernie.
no, and that is my point. So they
Hmm.
went to Bernie to ask about some question to do with the weather and
Oh,
the
yeah,
tires
the
and
rain and the
you know,
effect on the car
yeah,
and the aerodynamics and the behavior. Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah.
And I think they said something like, would that collision have happened if it was dry? And Bernie gave insights into the tires and the slipping and the wet and blah blah blah.
Hmm.
But what annoyed me is that she gave her insights. She was detailed. She explained everything. She explained what happened, and then it it went back to the boys, and they just ignored everything that she said. They didn't acknowledge it. They didn't say thanks, Bernie. They didn't say nothing, and they just started talking about Max as if Bernie never said anything. And I was like,
Yeah.
Bernie is the one person on Sky News, on Sky Sports, sorry, that provides actual insights and is interesting to listen to.
And well
And
spoken,
she,
and she
yeah,
distills the high level engineering concepts
yeah,
and like topics to things we can all understand.
yes, she
I didn't study
articulates things in
engineering,
a
but I know
great
what
way.
she's saying to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she explains engineering and the point of view of a strategist so well to people that do not work in that field.
Hmm.
And it's so amazing, but they do not value her enough.
No. And I think it might have been during the sprint or qualifying or practice or something where they were also talking, and it was Karun, and they were talking to Bernie about something, and they were talking about the corner numbers, and Bernie
Oh
was using
yes,
corner numbers and not the names. And Karun like roasted her for it and was like, oh, like
yes,
here are the engineers sucking the fun out of it. And she's like, well, numbers never change. Haha. Like took it so in stride. And I was like, I can't believe we just listened to
yeah,
a talk to a woman like that on like live television, because that's like really disrespectful. And because it's live and because she's a
yeah.
woman, she can't like roast him back for it. She just has to be like,
No,
haha.
yeah, but it frustrated me because when at all do you hear any driver in post interviews, on the radio, any engineers and strategists say the names of the corners? They don't. The drivers, the engineers, the strategists, all of them say corner numbers
In the
because
broadcast, when you are watching, it says in the
mm,
bottom left, turn 11, turn 13.
yes,
It does not say the.
yes. I could not even tell you the only reason that I know there is a corner, there is a sequence in the Brazil track that is called the Senna S, is because
Because
I do my race like prep
mm,
for a TikTok and I explain the track. That is the
yeah.
only reason. But even when I do those videos, I don't look at what each corner is called because, in my opinion, it's not relevant.
No,
Like,
it's not going to make a material difference to how much I'm enjoying just because somebody said Pico de Bato or whatever. There's one that's
yeah,
like Duckbill. I'm like,
yeah,
cool, funny, cute name. If you
I
had called it Turn 14, I wouldn't have cared any different.
no, I don't even, I don't even care now. If someone tells me,
I didn't
like, I
care
have
then, I
no
don't care now, I
number.
didn't care in the moment.
Like, if someone is talking to me about the race and they go, "Oh yeah, I think it happened at turn 1," I don't visualize the track from a bird's eye view and think, "Oh yeah, this is turn 1." Like, I don't, and I don't know. Maybe it's because that's just not how I look at or
Yeah.
follow races. But I don't know. It's just
I
I
don't
thought
know.
it
Yeah.
was
I think the way they
unnecessary.
talk to and about her and about what she talks about feels like it diminishes the worth, because it's, I don't
Yeah,
know if they need to check their own internalized misogyny, because I
probably.
don't necessarily think they do it on purpose. I do genuinely think that they are, that like Karun, for example, thinks he's just being silly and being like, oh,
Uh
like
huh.
haha, engineers are always stuck with their numbers.
Yeah.
Like, haha, yeah, but it reads differently with the
But
continued attitude and the layer that she is, in fact, a woman in a male dominated field. And I know that there's that
yes.
TikTok trend going around right now as of when we're filming this. Um, but like that is also a thing, and F1 Academy being part of the realm now
Mhm.
is like women, it's not that they're new. It's not that we need, like, yes, we need to get more, but not
Mm,
just because they're women, but because they're good. Because women are
yeah.
good at what they do. Because Bernie is
Yeah.
good at explaining things, and she is such a
Hmm.
valuable component of the broadcast to me. I
Yeah.
love listening to her.
I love when Bernie comes on, and I really wish that in Australia you could get F1 TV without having to go jump all through all the hoops that you have to be
Mm-hmm.
able to access it. I wish that we could just have access to it because on F1 TV they have Ruth Buscombe, who is like one of Bernie's
Oh my God, I
besties.
love her.
But I love her. I love her. Every podcast that she's on, I'm watching that episode and I'm
Yes.
listening because I think her insights are amazing.
Yeah,
Little
I'm,
podcast.
I know, a little drive by. I'm actually, fun fact, I'm actually connected with her on LinkedIn. So
Wow.
maybe you should send a
Sophia at a
LinkedIn.
racetrack when?
Huh?
I said Sophia at a racetrack when?
Oh my
You can
God,
be
I know, seriously.
Ruth +1.
Oh my God, please. No, and then she posted her wedding pictures, and I'm like, she is so strong, and she is so intelligent, and she is so married, and she looks amazing.
My God,
I'm
incredible.
obsessed
And
with
she's
her.
besties with Charles. She's Charles's bestie.
Yeah. So actually, speaking of, that's one of the next points in here, is that on lap 25, they pull him in the box, like his nightmare that goes viral every once in a while.
The house.
And they put more intros on, and I just all of my It says Leclerc into pits, lap 25. Jesus, please let it be good. That's what my note says, because I get so
Yeah,
stressed out because Ferrari, I love you and I wish I could love you harder, but sometimes you make really crazy decisions, strategy decisions that I just don't
they
understand.
are they are a little bit concerning sometimes. And him going into the pits that early, I actually thought something was wrong.
Mm,
And I was like, what happened? I actually messaged one of the group chats and I was like, what happened? Why is he in the pits? And then I
yeah,
was like, oh, he's actually just pitting. Okay.
which is wild. And I think we talked about this, but it didn't end up harming his race too much, but it was
No.
definitely undue stress.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. So
Um
net neutral, I guess, but it sure gave me a fright.
yeah, I think it allowed them to maximize their points. Fine. But would they have? I mean, we know that Charles is good on his tires. He can
Yeah.
manage pretty well.
Yeah,
So I
so at
almost
least it happened with
wonder.
him.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. Um, Oscar's 10-second penalty, that was also rough.
I can't, all I have written is OMG, Oscar 10-second penalty, and then nothing. So I know he got it, but I don't know what for.
I also don't know what for.
Okay. Should we Google it?
Um, yeah,
Uncle Google.
because judging by your notes, there were safety cars after that, but Oscar wasn't in a crash.
No, no, I don't know what the safety car was for. Maybe it was a condition. Oh my God, excuse me. Because of the conditions or something.
Yeah.
Brazil 2024. Oh, he had a clash with Liam Lawson, who again is being a little bit of a
I'm
menace.
Liam Lawson.
That's
It's
such a good trend. I love it.
it's such a good song for Liam, to be honest. Yeah, he's coming into the sport hot.
Very,
Mm.
very. Yeah. I mean, respect to making a stand, but I don't. I mean, I'm Hispanic, so I'm like, why'd you pick a fight with all of the Hispanic Latino drivers, brother? Come on,
Yeah,
man.
it's look.
Diversify.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess he did with Oscar this weekend. This
Yeah,
this past race, he was like, okay, you know what? No, let's
everybody. I
share
can
the
be a
hate.
menace to everyone.
Even my brother country. Let's just hate on us.
Seriously.
One Australian down. Now he's going
Yeah.
for Oscar.
So I think probably after that there was safety. I think there was a VSC and then there was a real safety car. And
Yeah,
then it was, I believe, under safety car conditions that Franco had his huge crash.
I think so. Yeah, and that was big. Like
It was scary.
I know he had a big crash in qualifying, but that one in the race was worse. And
Yeah.
it was really scary, the shot that they showed of after he hit the wall and he was sliding down the track,
Mm-hmm.
because he was kind of, the camera was positioned in a way that it was like kind of sliding right towards us.
Right.
But seeing the whole side pod of the car without the panels on it, I was like, oh, I thought I was seeing a dying transformer.
Yeah, no,
That's what
it
it
was
looked
like
like.
leaking, and honestly, in that moment, I was thinking about how scared he must be, because
Yeah,
that was probably the biggest crash he's been
yeah,
in Formula One.
yeah.
So
And bless
I couldn't
Franco,
stop thinking about that.
he was not. That was not a. He did not go into that weekend in the best of spirits.
Yeah. Also, side note, his girlfriend.
Oh,
Yeah.
um, did you see his social media managers or his managers like statement?
No.
He pretty much told everyone to like fuck off and like
And like, I guess
stop.
I get it. And the thing is, like, I feel like Franco is older than I think he is. Let's Google it again. How old?
No, I think he's Oscar's age.
Oh, he's 21. Never mind. It is just as problematic as I thought it was. Because
Yeah,
that's the thing that I do find a little odd with like Kelly and Max. That I think it's a little. I think age is just a number to a degree, but I also think that meeting someone in the space where they are underage and you are not is like it's Aaron Taylor Johnson esque of like a bit
yeah,
predatory, a bit grooming, whether
yeah,
intentional or not, is inappropriate and feels weird.
yeah. I agree. And
Also, the
Yeah,
Kelly
I
thing
don't
is
know.
weird because of the Kvyat and then the Penelope being and then Max, and it's just that whole situation is odd to me. And I
Yeah,
think, find your joy and be happy with whoever you want to be happy with, but do it in a respectful and mindful way as to people's ability to literally frontally lobe make a decision.
I wonder, I don't know how old her kids are, but I wonder if Franco is closer in age to her children than he is with her.
Mm. I can do
Because they're
math
at
pretty
least
fast.
10 years apart. I think
Yeah.
they're 10 or 11.
Yeah, she's 11 years older than him, according to The Sun.
Oh, oh.
Oh boy. Wow, this headline. Um, F1 sensation 21, which is referring to Franco Colapinto, who is
Mm.
poised to be Max Verstappen's teammate, which is a very interesting headline. There's been a lot of chatter about this. We'll see if
Yeah.
they replace a Mexican with an Argentinian. Not really sure. I don't subscribe to the fact that they're going to drop Checo right
I don't
now.
No, I don't think if it will happen, it will be the end of the season now. I think there's not many races left, so what's the point?
Yeah.
But did you see that apparently it's come out that Perez and his team have told Red Bull that they want to put a clause in his contract that says like Red Bull have to pay Perez $21 million or something if they want to terminate his contract early.
He's trying to get his bag.
Yeah, he's trying to pull a Daniel with McLaren. But, I mean, apparently there's already clauses in there that say that if he's not performing and he's X amount of points away from Max, I don't think that's going to matter, to be honest. But
Yeah,
who knows? I
also,
don't
just
know.
for the record, the Sun article never actually said her name.
Hmm.
So, not a very good source.
Mm.
Let me see her child. I mean, they're children, so it's like I don't think their information is going to be readily available.
Yeah, you'd hope not. But
Mm,
I don't know. I mean, I feel like most women in their 30s, most people in their 30s, not just women,
mhm.
most men and women in their 30s have children that are at least the age of like late, early 10s, I mean, at least.
Yeah, like it would be interesting to know, like if they had those kids together, like would it have made sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Um,
I'm gonna have to look up on Instagram and see like visually how old these kids look.
yeah, because I mean, like, we can look at Penelope, and she, I think, is like 6 now, and
Yeah,
they've
but
been
that's kind of
together.
wild because it would put Max at like 21
Yeah, which,
having a kid, which
I
is
mean, I don't,
possible but feels young.
how old is Kelly Piquet? Like 34, 37?
Google says 35.
Yeah,
So
okay.
that's only a what? 8-year difference?
I think they're not as bad as Franco and his
11
new
years, yeah.
girlfriend. Um, yeah. Okay. Well, aside from the
Side
drama's
note.
love life, um, Hulkenberg getting disqualified.
That
The
was
little
honestly okay. That part of the broadcast was actually pretty funny because he goes off and then all of a sudden they cut back and he's back on. They're like, oh, he made it back on,
yeah,
and they just like didn't show the part where he got help from the marshals.
yeah,
And then, oh, who was it? Crofty or Brundle? One of them was down there and he was like, and I'm standing right by him. And he just, I don't think he knows. I don't think he knows. And then the other two, and Karun and the other one, because oh my God, they're like twins to me. Like, I don't know what I would do if
yeah,
I don't want children, but if I had twin children, God, it would be awful. But it was like they were like, no, tell him, you be the one to tell him. They're like, no, I can't
yeah,
do that, I can't do that.
yeah,
And so then they were narrating like, oh, he's putting his headphones on. Oh yeah, I was putting his headphone on. Oh, they know that, they know now. But I thought that was so funny. It was like, oh, it was very middle school of like, oh, I know something that you don't, and then like,
yeah.
oh, but it has to do with you. So do I tell you? Do I not? Like, ah. And just
It
like
was,
it was like whispering in the back of class. It felt
yeah,
so funny. The red
yeah.
flag shenanigans that go on during F1 are hilarious to me.
I I love it. It does make me laugh a lot. Do you know what else made me laugh a lot?
Hmm.
2 radio messages when George was getting visibly cranky and he was actually swearing, because that doesn't happen very often. So
No, I feel
that
like
made me
I wrote
laugh.
that down somewhere.
I think you did. I think I read it in your notes, and that's what made me um remember it. But the one that did, I don't actually remember what he said when he swore. I think he maybe said shit or something.
Oh, he
But
said it like,
what?
no, he cursed like 3 times in like one breath. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. What have you done with my old man, George Russell?
Yes. Oh my god. Sweet old man.
I know.
Um, but what did make me laugh was Signs.
Oh, Ricky, these are not new interns. Ricky, which interns are these? And then, but the thing is,
Hello,
they
are you
cut
there?
it. I know, they cut it. It was about 30 seconds of dead silence before he goes, hello.
Oh really? Because in the broadcast,
They trimmed
it
it.
was like
Yeah,
right after the other, and I was like,
not
damn,
in
you
real
didn't even
life.
give him a chance to answer. That's
No, I
funny.
know. He was sitting there for a minute. And so I made a TikTok of just that radio message and the TikTok audio of the Ricky, when I catch you, Ricky, Ricky, when I catch you, Ricky.
That's all. Every time Carlos summons Ricky
That's all I
through
can think of.
the radio, that's all I can think of. Ricky, when I catch you, Ricky. But yeah, I did see that TikTok, and it did make me laugh.
It's so
Um,
good. I do have another a horse girl reference here of when all the drivers were getting back
mhm.
into their cars after the red flag. They get their little feet wiped off to be dry, which makes sense. You don't want your foot wet and sliding around on the pedals. But I was like, it's like when you clean out a horse's hooves. They like pick up their foot and they
Yeah.
get their foot wiped down and then they go in and then they pick
Oh
up
my
their other
god.
foot. It was so
You're
cute.
so right.
It was so baby girl. That's
I
what it
think I
is.
actually missed that, to be honest. I don't remember seeing that, so you'll have to send me a vid
I'll
if you
have to
find
find it. I thought it was absolutely adorable. I thought it was
it. Yeah.
so cute. Like, oh, honey, you've been outside. Like, you need to wipe your feet before you
Yes.
come inside.
My partner does that with the dogs. He's like, okay, let me wipe your feet before you come back in. He gets a little towel and wipes their feet.
And I respect that. Outside ground is gross.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then, so then we get to like the second half of the race, like, what is it? before red flag and ARF after red flag.
Oh my god, yeah.
Where honestly, for the rookies, it must have been terrifying. Like I
Yeah.
know that I'm sure a lot of us have seen the audio, the radio of Ollie saying like, I'm not trying to die, and like he's like kind of
Yeah.
like hyped up saying it, but like that's such a true sentiment that like I do
Well,
think we forget, and I'm very grateful to live in an era where we don't have to worry about our driver's safety as much.
yeah.
And when I say our, I mean any of the 20 or
Mm.
anybody in high speed motorsports, because even
Any, yeah.
F2 could go. I
Any
mean, and that's to say it's the most part, but like in recent years, Jules Bianchi,
mm-hmm.
Liv would be real sad for that one, and
Yeah.
gosh, I can't remember his name, but he was
Antoine?
like best friends, yeah, best friends with Pierre. Like those
Yeah.
are fairly recent.
Yeah. And well, there was Dante last year, which I think was F3 at
Yeah,
Spa. I don't think that that was during the rain, but I think it had been raining. Um,
it's
but
scary. It's
it's
still scary.
it's scary. And to be honest, I do think that they should have red flagged it. And I saw numerous radio messages and onboards of drivers saying that it should have been red flagged. You even had Oscar saying that it should have been red flagged, and he is the
He never
calmest.
says anything about anything.
He was genuinely, you could hear the fear in his voice.
And you don't want that. Like I love the sport, but no one needs to die because of it. It's
No.
yes, your broadcast is going to be inconvenienced and you're going to have to
Yeah.
move stuff around and maybe you'll lose out some money, but like y'all
Yeah.
already have so much of it, it's okay.
Exactly. And
So
like they already cut the race by a lap. It was already 1 lap short.
that
But
was amazing. I just need to say the fact that it was 69 laps, loved it. Thought it was great. Thought it was great.
simply lovely. It was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
As
I
Max.
mean, I think that's the aside from, I have one Yeah, everything else that's in my notes. Well, after everybody going wide, Ollie was in the grass, Science
Oh my
crashed.
god.
So whatever, the end of the race, and then we get a Simply Lovely finish, and he said that with his chest.
Yeah, that was. I was so happy to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a note here too that they had said on the broadcast that Max Verstappen has now, and I know how you live and I feel about these old like records, like the most
Uh huh.
XYZ thing, like passing on to newer drivers. Like I know we all
Yeah.
have mixed feelings about that, but Max did surpass Michael Schumacher for most consecutive days leading the World Drivers' Championship.
Yeah.
So I think give Max his flowers. I think he drove a hell of a race. I think the Alpines drove a hell of a race, and I think that they made good strategy decisions. And that is what it
Yeah.
takes. And that's why it's a team sport, is because the strategy needs to be there, the engineering needs to be
Yeah.
there, and the driving needs to be there.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
honestly,
And
flowers
Alpine
to
wouldn't
all
have
of
done
them.
that. I keep seeing all these things on TikTok and Instagram being like, yes, Alpine got it. Great. Amazing for them. But they got lucky. They, all
But
this
that's what
other
it is
stuff. Just like,
sometimes. Lando's
that's
first
what
win
I
is
said.
luck. Sorry.
Lando's first win, George's first win. Lando got, McLaren got lucky with the safety car in the sprint.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there is so much luck involved. And I know that Lando spoke about this in the post-race interviews and the media twisted his words. But I do agree with him. There is a lot of luck and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
teams got luckier than others. But that is not saying that they didn't put in the work to
To be able to
be
capitalize
able
on
to
it.
utilize.
Yes.
Yes.
The
Because
opportunity is
yes,
there.
yeah, because they were, regardless of the final result, Alpine was in the right spot at the right time to
Mm-hmm.
utilize and to capitalize on that incident.
Opportunity. A
And
hundred percent. A
they
hundred
got
percent.
it. They got it. So
Yeah.
yes, the safety car and Alpine getting the podium is that result was luck, but they put in the work and they got rewarded for it. So
Yeah.
big slay.
Yeah.
Big
No,
slay
I'm
from
so
them.
happy for them. They looked
Yeah.
happy together, which never happens.
No, they were so the French.
The cool down
It,
room.
my
I
God,
need every cool down room to have this energy because and
that was
here's I
incredible.
think Lando has an attitude. And so he brings down, and I'll say it, he brings down the vibe of the cool down
He
rooms,
does.
and I don't like it.
He does. He does. But I don't know if you've seen the 2 times that Ocon has been in the cool down room. So I think it was Monaco last year and Brazil. Oh
Mm-hmm.
my God, he was so happy.
Well, and that's the
Oh,
thing is I think
and
with these top
his
four
radio
teams,
message.
yeah, and I just think with these top four teams, they get used to
Yes.
it, so it loses its
Yeah.
shine a little bit. So unless you're winning, and then if you're Lando, even if you're winning, it's like not. Anyways, but and I think that there needs to be a little bit more emphasis on, like, no, everybody wants to be on the podium. Not everybody
Mm,
has the tools to get there, but you're
mm,
still there. Like
mm,
I do think Ferrari. I think the Ferrari boys do a good job of it. I think
mm.
that, well, okay, you know what? Maybe I'm just upset with how Lando deals with it. I think Max has been there enough times that he is a bit chill about it. But even this time, he was
Yeah.
so hype. He was running
Yeah.
into the arms of his beloved engineers. And when he said Simply Lovely, he said it with his chest. And I honestly think it was a little bit of a middle finger to Lando having stolen it from
Yeah.
him.
Well, he's
Aside
trademarked
from the
it now.
sweater release, like,
Yeah.
this one was it.
Yeah. Yeah. I
But
love it. I
yeah.
love it.
I think the cool down room was really satisfying because these were people that were happy to be there. They
Yeah.
didn't feel like they were cheated. They didn't feel like they deserved a different outcome.
Yeah. They didn't feel like they deserved to be on a higher step than what they got.
They
They
were
were
happy with where they were.
they were happy. They were
Yeah.
happy. And I don't know if you saw, but the past couple of days on TikTok, I saw a video of Ocon with his girlfriend, and they made a cute little TikTok together. But in the background, I want to assume that she did it. I don't know her name, but I want to assume that she did it. But they had a big poster of like Ocon holding the Brazil trophy,
Oh,
like
that's
up on the
so
wall.
cute.
I was like, oh, it was really cute.
That is
Like
adorable.
they seemed so happy, and they're not my favorite drivers. I know that Pierre is
No,
Liv's
I don't like
Liv's
Esteban.
baby.
I like
But,
Pierre more. I don't like Esteban.
yes, agreed. But, I've said it before. I'm an empath. And his radio message, it made me so happy. I was like, oh, this is just
They
two
were
men living out their
joyful.
childhood dream. And the pictures that Alpine put up where it was like young Pierre and Esteban,
Well,
like
and that's what they talked
hugging,
about, like
partying.
them racing in the rain in Normandy when no
Yeah,
one else wanted to race. And
yeah,
now they're winning in the rain in Brazil. Like
it
the
was
luck
cute.
pays off because they had the tools to
Yeah,
capitalize on it.
yeah, it was cute. It was wholesome. It was a great outcome. And I think if McLaren had have been on the podium, and when I say McLaren, I mean Lando, obviously, but I think if McLaren had have been on the podium, it just would have been such a different vibe, and there would have been tension there because Max overtook Lando. So there would have
Yeah.
been tension.
Yeah, but I do think that this is for everyone saying maybe that it was a car advantage. Like, no, I think, and pardon my French, I think Max really just is that bitch. Like, I truly
Yeah,
think that he's just the best driver
absolutely.
in this generation.
Absolutely. He obviously, Hamilton had a really strong career before Max
Mm-hmm.
got to the place that he is at now. And I'm not discouraging any other experienced drivers on the grid by saying that
Oh,
Max
not at
is the
all.
best driver on the grid right now, because
Right now.
prime time older drivers is a different story, and we're not comparing prime time
Yeah.
results with each other. But right now, Max is 100% by far the best driver on the grid.
Yeah. No, I
Yes.
agree. He might not be in the fastest car because I think we'll both agree in saying that the
Mm.
McLaren is the fastest car, but he is,
Yeah.
like, I agree with you. And again, not to discount anybody else's performances, like, everybody is where they're at and was where they were at their point in time, and they deserve the
Mm.
recognition of that. And the fact that they're in
Mm.
Formula One in general, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Absolutely.
right now it's Max. It's Max's world and we're living in it. And I'm okay
Yeah.
with that. I used to not be, but now I am.
Yeah.
So, and speaking of
Absolutely.
Max, I did want to talk about post-race stuff of, I believe it was Brazil when they went to do post-race interviews and there was no British media.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that was so ironic.
It made quite clear where people's loyalties lie, and it
Yeah.
really put on display the British bias that so many people are talking about.
Yeah.
You know, especially
I
in the
think,
wake of, like, oh, safety car, pull, like, throw the flag, like, oh, hold on, like, let's
yeah.
wait for these team orders to go through and then we can do a safety car. It's okay, it's just
Yeah.
Nico Hulkenberg. Like, that is so messed up, and it's hard to
Yeah.
not call it British bias and call it as we see it when that's how we see it, especially in situations that reinforce that idea like this, like that the British media does not care
Yeah.
for non-British drivers.
I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. But we've even seen it and it's not just Max either. It's British bias for everyone that isn't British, because
Yeah.
they've spoken poorly about Oscar as well. And Hungary, and it was Hungary, I think, when they had team orders and everything like that, papaya rules, whatever.
Oh,
Regardless of who it is,
traumatic words.
if they are not, I was about to say under the jurisdiction of the Queen, under the jurisdiction of the King, they're unhappy with
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, which is a bummer because it's such a global, it's become so much more global maybe than it started. And maybe it's just this batch of people interacting with and facilitating so much of the communication about the sport in terms of, like, Crofty and Brundle are older, they've got their white hair, they are older. And now it's so much, especially after Drive to Survive. Like, Gunther
Yeah.
Steiner's our guy. Is he
Yeah.
crazy? Yes, fully I believe so. I saw
Yeah.
his dedication in one of his books, and it's like, oh, for everyone who blah 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 blah, and then at the bottom it says P.S. not Eugene. And
Yeah.
I think that that's the energy that we have now. It's not the prim and proper,
Yeah.
the Queen's England.
Yeah.
Because now it's a king, and now we're in this different world, and now we're in a post UTS world where there's more. It became so much more accessible to different people, and it was packaged in such a fun way. And it's not that it was made to seem more fun than it is. It was just packaged in a way that it was an easy gateway into the sport. Because, like, now, I came in through Drive to Survive, And now part of why I love the sport, and like you say, I've said it before too, of like, I like this sport because of the gossip. I
Yeah.
think it's so fun to see the rumors and wait
There's
for
so
something
much
to be
drama.
confirmed.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe something
100%.
until F1 official posts it, but I
Mm-hmm.
know which sources are more reputable, and once you've
Mm-hmm.
heard it X amount of times, it's probably true.
Yeah.
And it's
Adrian
even
Newey.
more fun when it's not. Like, oh, they're dropping Checo, and then they don't, and we're all like, oh
Yeah.
my God, drama.
Yeah.
On top of, we get races like this.
Yeah.
Like, I can't wait to see this episode on Drive to Survive.
Yeah, me either. I just think that since it's gotten more popular, there is so much diversified love for the
Yes.
sport. People love
Yes.
it for so many different reasons.
Yeah.
And I think that's just changed people's perception of the sport. But I think the main thing is people are starting to love the drivers for their personality and who they are as a person, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to who they are completely on track. Because, you know, we see it all the time, people saying that Senna is the greatest, or Schumacher is the greatest, or whatever. And when you ask them why, they talk about their drive and how
Right.
they drove and their competition, and how they maximize their chances and everything like that. But
Yeah.
you ask someone why Lewis Hamilton is their favorite driver, they'll go on and say all of his amazing skills that he has on track, but then they'll continue by saying he's a
Mission
pioneer,
44.
he
He
is
Black
mission
representation.
44.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is a genuine person. He is looking for change.
Fashion.
He is a leader.
Yeah. All
They
these
people
things.
are starting to love the drivers for what they stand for, and
And
that
I
is
think
changing.
it gives them a really
Yeah.
powerful platform as well
Yes.
to
Yes.
do good things, and maybe to sell ice cream too.
Oh, bless.
I wish it was available, and also that there was a non-dairy option. Actually,
Yeah.
maybe I'll go to the store. Maybe I'll go to the store and get ice cream. It is so
Yeah.
cold here, but maybe I'll go to the store and get ice cream.
It's never too cold for ice cream.
Real. Anyways.
Yeah. But yes, all in all, best race of this season
Oh,
by
by
far.
far.
It was incredible. There were obviously other things that happened in the race and on the weekend in general that we didn't talk about. But
Because
by
it's been
now,
3 weeks.
it's been 3 weeks. By now, you've probably seen everything that happened in the race and
In
whatnot.
case
But
you need to beat a dead horse for the last horse pun of this podcast, most likely, here we are.
yeah, I mean, I hope you enjoyed our watching the Brazil GP through our eyes.
Mm,
Is more so than a race recap. It's more so how we look at all the situations and incidents that happened.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited for Vegas. FP1
Yes.
is in an hour, and
Yay.
yeah, I'll probably watch it. Soph might go to bed.
I mean, that's embarrassing. It's 6:30. I can't go to bed in an hour. That's bad. No, I'll probably watch it. Maybe I'll go get ice cream and watch it.
Yeah,
And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really hoping that the points differential between Max and Lando is big enough that we can call it. Well, I don't know.
I
I
think it's
wouldn't hate it
after
if it
Vegas.
went to the last race.
Yeah, me too. Only because I don't
It's
know.
fun.
I don't know. But I think I read something that Max has to get at least 5 more points than Lando this weekend, and
Mm,
then he'll be able, he'll have the
Coast.
championship.
Yeah.
Lando will be able to catch him.
Yeah. But very exciting Vegas coming up. I drove it on the F1 video game. It is an
Mm-hmm.
incredibly long track. My friend is going, he has a paddock pass, and his
Oh,
his person who got him the paddock pass is in like a parental role with him, and called it Ashton Martin. So we have that to rejoice upon and think about forever. So I will be getting live updates from him. I told him that he
yeah.
has to kiss all of the drivers square on the mouth, and he said that he would. So,
Oh, okay. Well, make sure he films it because I want
yeah.
to see as
Yeah, no, I
well.
basically asked for live tweets. So good energy this
Yeah, good.
weekend to the Las Vegas Grand Prix. I will be staying up to watch it. And yeah, there you have it. A little bit forward looking, really great
Yeah,
recap of a really great race.
yeah. I think this episode will go out after Vegas has happened, so we're not going to tell you our predictions because they're not going to matter. But we are hoping. Well, I think I speak on behalf of both of us that we are hoping for a Max above Lando finish. But I am once again hoping for a Ferrari on the podium / on the top step.
But they're strong. They're strong with street tracks.
They are very strong here, and Charles won in Monza, and Vegas is very similar technically to Monza, I've heard. Looking at the news reports that I've seen, they have similar top speeds to Monza and stuff like that. So hopefully, as long as we have no drain cover issues, we can see Ferrari
that was insane.
play it
for that
this year. Yeah.
Well,
but there you have it. There is our Brazil GP through our eyes.
Oh, let me hit the viewers. Anybody who's watching this with one of these, with the what are they called? How do you say that? What are they called? I can only think of it in Spanish. Juego pirotecnico.
The effects? The video effects?
No, but what are they called?
The fireworks?
Fireworks. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. It's late.
It is late.
Thank you for watching. We'll catch you all next time. Ooh.
See you all later. Have fun. Enjoy the Vegas Grand Prix. Bye.
Bye.